Hey, I'm Stephanie, and I'm the creator of Heart Blossom. And for the last couple years, I have been writing these horoscopes for you at the new moon and the full moon. And that's been a really interesting learning experience and really awesome to share with you. But I've been really feeling like I want to share a little bit more personally with you and get some FaceTime in, which normally I only get to do with my one-on-one clients. So here I am, live or recorded from my bedroom, and I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about what the heck is going on right now at the full moon in Libra, and also here in the northern hemisphere, the spring equinox, and the sun has just entered the new sign of Aries, which is starting a whole new astrological year, a whole new cycle of the sun moving from Aries all the way through the zodiac until we get back to Pisces. And so we have just been through Pisces season, and this has been really extra Pisces, with Mercury doing retrograde travel through Pisces. Mercury is not very comfortable in Pisces, and so this really brings a lot of nebulous energy to our communication style, the way we're thinking about things, just our approach. I know for me personally, I'm a Virgo rising, so Mercury is my chart ruler, and I feel like I've been all discombobulated, and definitely a lot of miscommunications or sometimes trouble seeing clearly what's going on. But at the same time, with this Mercury transit, we're really getting an opportunity for new insights and intuitions and inspiration. We could say divine inspiration coming through, and maybe messages in dreams, or just new understanding really that we can get when we kind of step out of that normal mode of thinking and communicating and sort of going about our lives. So today, as we are at the spring equinox here in the northern hemisphere, or in the southern hemisphere in the autumnal equinox, we are at a moment of balance between light and day. And here in the northern hemisphere, this is the arrival of spring. And so we are completing this last cycle and entering this new phase of Aries. And so Aries is kind of like this baby that's born in starting over a new life here on Earth. It's very fresh and new and energetic, and we could say kind of like a young energy. This is a fire sign. There's a lot of vitality here. And the sun is actually exalted in Aries. So it's this kind of aliveness of an individual human who's coming into this experience in their own body with their own boundaries and their own needs and desires, and just an entire experience of life. Now, in this case, what we have happening today that's kind of unique and adding another dimension to this is that as the sun is entering Aries today, it's immediately going to get into a conjunction with Chiron. Now, Chiron, as we know, is all about healing. And so Chiron kind of shows up where we have some core wounding of some kind. And ultimately then, of course, we have the opportunity to become aware of that and to shift that pattern and learn how to kind of accept all the parts of ourselves. And so when we have Chiron here in Aries is really being illuminated at this time, at this full moon, Chiron in Aries, which is wounding all around just that basic existence as an individual, with all of our needs and our boundaries, and feeling like we're allowed to take up space. We're allowed to be present in society and go about our lives and have a sense of agency about what we're here to do and the choices that we wish to make. So while we've got the sun and Chiron in Aries, all about the individual, we have the moon in its opposite sign of Libra, which is all about our highest ideals for relationship. It's like me in the context of you. And so ideally, this is two individuals who are both whole and strong and solid in themselves, who are coming together to relate in some way. Now, lots of times we're kind of sliding more into the shadow side of relating, especially for those of us like me who are healers. We can have a lot of issues with like people pleasing, kind of like pretending everything's okay just to keep the peace, because Libra is really valuing harmony and justice and everything that's just pleasant and beautiful and nice. Of course, it's a Venus ruled sign. And so there's always this danger on the Libra side of, you know, losing yourself into a relationship, or kind of just like always mirroring the other person. And so right now we're at this moment with this kind of polarity that's happening between this Aries, we could say more of a, if we're using a gender binary, more of a masculine archetype, and then Libra, that's more of a feminine archetype. Mars and Venus ruled signs kind of facing off. And so how do we mediate this polarity? We really like are invited to be finding some integration, like a midpoint here. And overall, this full moon is really illuminating and setting the stage for this coming solar cycle that I believe is really all about healing in relationships. That includes our relationship with ourselves, that Chiron and Aries journey of getting to know ourselves more, feeling stronger, more confident, bold, to just kind of like blaze our own trail and really like have the kind of life that we want. And sometimes the first step to that is like even determining what is it that I want. And then on the Libra side of being able to relate to another and to sometimes compromise is needed to communicate. You know, Mercury making communication a little more challenging right now. But this is always like a practice, and sometimes we get it right and other times it gets a little muddled. And so it's all about just moving through that flow as best we can. With all this Pisces energy, you know, we're really just doing the best we can to find our way. We've got the polarity between Libra and Aries that's happening with the sun and the moon and Chiron. And then we also have a square happening between Venus in Aquarius and Mars in Taurus. Now, these are both what are called fixed signs. They're very solid, and we could say perhaps stubborn. So this is kind of like both of these energies are really kind of entrenched, and perhaps there's like, you know, a conflict of some kind between needs and desires, and or even energies of these two perspectives. We could say two individuals in relationship, or even two parts of ourselves. You know, I know like sometimes I feel like my head and my heart are in a battle, and it's really an invitation to grow by really just finding ways to resolve this apparent conflict, or to just create space for both to coexist. Like kind of like, can we just live and let live? Maybe pick your battles. Wise words for Aries. And kind of just like taking a little bit more of a long-term focus. There's still quite a bit going on in Capricorn, which can be kind of a tough energy, you know, ruled by Saturn. It really is all about getting things done and really having this long-term focus, building a solid foundation, creating structures that can support what it is that we want to build, and something that's really going to last and stand the test of time. And so right now in Capricorn, we have Pluto and the South Node and Saturn all in this cluster. This is like a very intense cluster of earth energy that is really transforming and working on any like shadow stuff that we have, like any patterns that are not serving us anymore, especially as they relate to any material resources, money, work, career. And we're either creating new structures, or perhaps we're upgrading, kind of transforming like existing structures. And I know in my own life, I've been working a lot with this question of the balance between structure and freedom, and kind of space for that creative chaos. And it's like an ongoing process. And it's really with Capricorn, the invitation is to go step by step, just one thing at a time, and just keep crossing those things off that to-do list. You know, when you're starting a new routine, you add one thing in at a time. Don't like overwhelm yourself with everything all at once. that is not sustainable. And at this time, we actually have Mars again in Taurus in a trine, this very supportive, harmonious aspect with these other planets in Capricorn. So that's really like opening this channel for an energy to flow in support of these long-term goals that we have. And so like if we're willing to kind of show up and put in the work and really be thoughtful about what it is that we're creating, that's really like a great use of our energy. And again, like as we're entering this new kind of spring season, spring cleaning, we've been purging everything during Pisces season. And so now we're kind of switching gears and it's time to move ahead to like what's next. So I just want to leave you with some questions of like, what is it that you need and want in your life? What are you doing to make that happen? Like what changes would need to take place in order for you to transition or align with this vision that you have? And how do relationships fit in? What's your relationship with yourself? Do you have a connection with yourself that you are nurturing? And what relationships do you have with other people? Are there certain patterns that have been showing up for you? And is there some new way that you could approach that might perhaps yield a different result? So I just want to wish you all the best. There's a lot of intense energy happening right now, but we really always have the choice of how we're going to respond and how we're going to sort of lean into our growth as we are co-creating our lives. So that's all for now, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon.